economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Roses are red and violets are blue.
Tank fly, boss walk, jam, nitty gritty. You're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam Pie. This is Jam Pie.
Walk in the dirt road, I see daisies and daffodils. Green's the scenery, grassy hills. Sun is at high noon, I'm feeling a summer breeze. Warm as a gentle wind that swims through the trees. Fresh as the air I breathe and cool as the run stream that flows down a mountainside. Free as a bumblebee, clear as the blue sky that darkens at nightfall. Bright as the star, like this is something you might call poetry. Poetically painting pretty pictures in the parallel position on a piece of paper, and I prepared it well so it can sell. Or maybe tell you something, a little information done with poetry is pumping. The bass is thumping and thumping, the beat is hitting and sticking. I feel the heat and I'm getting the fever when I'm kicking. A funky beat on a rhyme full of minds is a soul tree. Yeah, it's simply poetry. Simply poetry. Expressions of thought part have been laid out in formats. The lessons are taught by poets that can't ignore facts. We write about what we see here in our communities. Maybe the drug scene are promoting some unity. Some don't want you and me to speak freely because it brings about an awareness to the people, certain things about living conditions and conditions that we're living in. Poverty, racist society, when is this gonna end? Please don't pretend because the situation's very clear. My eyes are open but they're burning from the atmosphere. It's filled with dirt and pollution. Does anybody care about the garbage that we're breathing in from the air?
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed. We are talking hip hop, simply poetry, so to speak. Being joined in the studio, right across the street from her business. The artist you hear on that song, she is an artist. She made her radio debut at the age of 5 years old back on KDIA. She used to write poetry. She parlayed that into a recording deal with Interscope Poetic Groove. She is a radio personality. That's where I first met her. No, I first met you interviewing you.
Yeah,
as
on
an
home
artist.
turf.
Yeah, on home turf. Man,
Yeah.
our paths always cross. And of course, she's the owner of Morris Media Studios, right across the street from KBLA, a podcast studio. Good morning, Poetess.
Good morning, my radio twin.
Yes, we are. I'm not sure which one is the evil twin, but we're definitely radio twins. Great to see you. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Not
too,
only are we
always.
talking about West Coast hip hop today, you made hip hop history on the West Coast. And you have done so repeatedly.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, you have. I mean, really. I mean, as an artist, as a radio talent, and certainly as a producer.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have credible voices in the house today. I'll just be taking notes. We're also being joined by the man known as the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. Really played a lot of wore a lot of hats in the early days of hip hop, as well as today. As a DJ, as a club promoter, label owner for Crew Cut Records, Class Wreckin Cru, now an author. Lonzo Williams, welcome back.
Hello, darling. I'm back. Glad to be back.
And honestly, I had to give you props because after we were talking about the origins of West Coast hip hop.
Okay.
I learned a lot of things, and we brought up a lot of questions, right?
Okay.
And I thought, this needs to be a series.
Okay.
I need to get a lot of different people that were around and kind of put the pieces together about the origins of West Coast hip hop. Yeah.
She's one of them. We go back like sand, like back pockets, they say.
So, yeah, tell me about you guys, how you guys met.
Lonzo was actually one of the first people I met when I moved to LA, because I'm from the Bay as well. Through Def Jeff and Rose and Body and Soul.
Right.
And I think Rose was renting a room at Lonzo's house. Lonzo's house was the party house where everybody hung out. And so I met him through Def Jeff and Body and Soul.
Yep.
So when you say where everybody hang out, I mean, the people you were listing, Poetess like Warren G. I mean, it sounds like some kind of all-star video, right? Dre.
It pretty much was. I mean, you got a young 89-year-old Warren G. You got Eazy-E. He got his son in a bassinet, with the little car carriers or whatever the case may be. You got Yella. You got all these folks coming through. King T. You got DJ Pooh. I mean, nobody had no money but me. I'm the only person that got money. Nobody's been discovered yet. But because I had a studio in my house, and Dre was passing out studio time like it was flyers to a party, it became this place to be. Then you got Rose in the kitchen, and her and D Barnes, everybody hanging out in the living room, writing lyrics, whatever. Then you got other groups in the other side of the studio. What's Rose and them dancers' names?
Kenny and
right.
And KB.
And they're in the main room practicing their dance steps. So you got all this going on in one room. Not a big house with a studio in the back.
It's given Motown early days.
Yes. So it just was it was a spot to be, because I would do the club on a Friday or Saturday, and then people come back to the house during the week and hang out, and it just became the place to be.
But to your point, Poetess, some of the names on that list are not names we would typically think of as hanging out together today.
Yeah, things changed.
Yeah, things
changed.
Everybody kind of went their own way and had their own path.
Yeah,
money changes everything, doesn't it?
Money changes. I was telling her today. I said, when I was the big dog, everybody's around my house. But when now people have changed, I can't get them on the phone no more. I think that's kind of crazy.
It's crazy, but it's not surprising.
Yeah, it's the nature of this business.
Yeah.
Once you realize it is what it is, and you're better off.
Yeah.
Especially young people out there. It's a lot different in the music business when we started, but you just got to adjust your expectations or you'll be crushed.
Yeah, don't expect
and
anything.
Bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this. When you were the big dog, could they get you on the phone?
All the time. Come to my house, the whole 9 yards.
Nobody
called.
Always been cool.
Pee in your refrigerator?
Yeah, refrigerator.
Yeah.
In your pockets?
We go to...
maybe not his pockets.
No, we didn't do the pocket thing. But I tell you one thing.
He'd be in yours, though.
If you came to my house, and we were eating, everybody ate, okay?
Yeah.
And that was one thing I always, everybody ate, whether we cooked it, bought it, or whatever. We pitch in, whatever, pizza, chicken, whatever. But that was just the vibe we had.
So do you feel bitter that you can't get those folks on the phone?
It don't bother me no more. It don't bother me no more, because I got another generation coming up behind me that recognize my contributions, and they're much more acceptable. And it just seems that it's cool. I mean, nobody's mad at nobody. We just don't cross paths like we used to.
Well, I mean, and you're being rediscovered, right?
Yes.
Supposedly it's the 50. Now I say supposedly because I've heard so many start dates for hip hop. It's the 50-year anniversary of hip hop or thereabouts. And when we come forward, I want to ask you guys. You kind of talked about this a little bit, Lonzo, but I want to compare notes about when is the origin story, your origin story for West Coast hip hop. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
The Los Angeles Public Library proudly presents the June Jubilee inaugural event commemorating Juneteenth. Join us on June 10th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Central Library as we celebrate the rich Black culture in our city. This free event will include a special opening celebration featuring African drums procession and a libation ceremony at 9 a.m. along with speakers, workshops, live entertainment, and more for the whole family. Parking is only $1 with a validation. Learn more at lapl.org/Jubilee. That is lapl.org/JUBILEE. Did you know that all City of LA renters have rights? Check out these 3 facts. Residential tenants can't be evicted without reason or just cause. Eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt due before March 31st, 2023. And you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice. 5 days. Many Angelinos may be at risk of losing their home, and that's why we want you to know your rights. Learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Before new Cascade Platinum Plus, I would pre-rinse all my dishes because my old detergent just wouldn't get them clean. But now, I do dishes differently. A no pre-wash, no rewash, money-back guaranteed kind of different. Because Cascade Platinum Plus has double the grease-fighting power of Dawn built right in, with twice the scrubbing power, giving me a clean that lets me break all the dish rules. I just scrape, load, and I'm done. Yep, so clean. With Cascade Platinum Plus, I dare to dish differently.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's.
Today's topic, Father's Day.
Yeah, I may have procrastinated a bit on getting my dad a gift.
Honestly, same. But Kohl's saved the day. I found great gifts my dad will love every day, like Nike athleisure, stylish shirts, some grilling go-tos.
Wow, your dad is one lucky guy.
Oh, what can I say? He raised a smart kid. Wait, where are you going?
Off to Kohl's to make my dad proud.
See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Join the City of Santa Monica and the Juneteenth Celebration Committee, Inc. for an afternoon of music, unique food, craft vendors, and local resources to celebrate the 31st annual Juneteenth on Saturday, June 17th from 1 to 7 p.m. in Virginia Avenue Park under the theme of Coming Together in Appreciation, Reconciliation, and Commemoration. This year, the main stage will feature a stellar lineup. Local blues artist Sonny Green, who will kick off the event with a lively set of classic soul and blues. Chaz Ross will lead his traditional participatory drumming performance. Victory Boyd will perform original, classic soul, jazz, folk, and gospel music. Arise Roots, a prominent American roots reggae band, and Climax, featuring Cheryl Cooley, will perform their classic songs. Join the City of Santa Monica in the Juneteenth Celebration Committee, Inc. to celebrate the 31st annual Juneteenth on Saturday, June 17th from 1 to 7 p.m. in Virginia Avenue Park in Santa Monica.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Went to a party in West LA. Wanna learn a new dance, that's what you say. Well, here's a new dance that can't be matched. So just step to the floor and do the cabbage patch. When I got to the party, it was 9:30. All rocking to the rhythm of a B-boy's rhyme. When I stepped to the floor, it was a total wreck. Cause I tried to do the wop and almost broke my neck. Now when I got to the party, all the girls went nuts. Cause I was jamming to the DJ's cuz. Say what? Word up, it was a trip, oh yes indeed. Hurt my back when I tried to bust the centipede. Then I stepped off the floor just to keep my respect. Saw my homie Dr. Dre cold rubbing his neck. He said that's the new way, that's right and exact. So we make this dance called a cabbage patch.
KBLA Talk 1580. Happy Black Music Month.
Yes,
Talk us out of the song, Lonzo.
That was the Cabbage Patch by the World Class Wreckin Cru. One of our favorite dance tunes. And I love doing that. I love performing that song. We get to do our
Was that
little
Dre
swear.
rapping on that part?
Yeah, Dre and Shakespeare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, digging in them crates.
Most people know that song was written by Ice Cube, though.
What?
Yeah. It was written by
Oh,
Ice
Miles knew.
Yeah.
Miles is she.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a rapper talking right there. I'm surrounded by artists. But yeah, well, okay. So I want to hear. I want to hear your origin story for West Coast hip hop. And by the way, during the last break, we were talking about, because me and Poetess have been having this ongoing conversation about who was the first West Coast female rap artist. I thought it was Poetess to record with a major label, but you got to be number 2 for sure.
I'm probably in the top 5, but we were just discussing MC Trouble, who you think said was on Motown.
Yeah,
at
she
the
was
time?
on Motown. Yeah.
Yeah, MC Trouble, and her life and career was cut short. I believe that she passed away from an epileptic seizure.
Yeah,
And,
it says she passed away in 1991.
Yeah.
But her song "Wanna Make You Mine," well, her album.
I think that was with the
dropped.
Good Girls.
It drops in
Wow.
1990.
Yeah.
And so, if you ask about females overall, they'll tell you Sha-Rock, who recorded in 79, but that's East Coast.
Right.
So for the West Coast, it's much later.
Right.
So Poetess, I mean,
I'm thinking it's somebody from the Bay Area. I'm sorry, I should know this answer. Really.
I bet you, but I've asked several people and no one seems to know. But see, this is why we're now doing a series, because we're going to dig up these facts.
Yeah, but I do believe it was a female from the Bay Area. Now, whether she had a major album deal, I don't know.
You mean Before Trouble?
Before Trouble, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to find out.
Yeah,
We can
I'll
probably
find
ask
out.
Davy D.
Yeah, we got to. Davey D would definitely know the answer, so we got to get him on the phone and
But I
find
mean,
out.
but also congrats to you, because your Simply Poetry drops in what, 91?
92.
92.
Yeah.
So that makes you very early on in the game.
Yep, and I was on Poetic Groove Interscope. Rest in peace to Jerry Davis, by the way. I was the
Yes. He just recently passed.
first female rapper on Interscope, and Tupac and Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch and Gerardo were my label mates at the time. But even back then, they didn't really know how to market female rappers. So a lot of the marketing stuff, we did grassroots.
But at least back then you didn't have to have a BBL.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. But sexuality was pushed on us strong, though.
Yeah.
You know, some of the B-girls didn't want to, dress all sexy. And I'll even say even with Body and
I
Soul,
remember that.
they were pressured to, dress sexier and stuff like that.
I remember when they did their album, they came out like a West Coast version of Salt and Pepper. And then they had a meet. They met. They left. Went to New York. Came back. I think they met with Chuck D or Queen Latifah. But when they came back, and they wanted to do their video in African garb, and they did it at the mall,
At Crenshaw Mall.
Crenshaw Mall, and you never heard from them again. The album never came out.
Yeah.
They just like the label, like, oh no, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And if you see the
We
promo
want
pictures,
Sex Clan, not X Clan.
right? Oh, there you go. That's a good one. When you saw the promo pictures, they were sexy. Both of them are cute girls, bodies, nice bodies, cute faces. But the video, when they put on those African garb, the Coming to America look, they wasn't feeling it.
Coming to America. I was thinking about the Conscious Daughters, but theirs doesn't come out to 93.
Yeah, they came out shortly
From the
after
Bay,
me, I
also
think
from
so.
the Bay. Yeah,
the
the
Bay
Conscious
Area.
Daughters.
Shout
They
outs to
didn't
them.
have a like super sexy
And then
image.
Sugar T from the Click, they came out, I think, also in
yeah.
the early 90s.
With
E40.
E40, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Poetess, I'm gonna start with you. Where do you consider the beginning of West Coast hip hop?
I'm sitting right next to him, Lonzo. and of course, shout out to Roger Clayton, rest in peace. But yeah, I'm sitting next to one of the founders of West Coast hip hop right here. Like, I was just sitting here telling Lonzo that I came to LA at a perfect time.
Perfect time.
Because it was like the beginning stages. I got to see Egyptian Lover and LA Dream Team in their heyday, and Toddy T and all of those guys.
I was still up in the Bay interviewing people like you.
Yep. I first met Dominique on her TV show Home Turf.
Wow.
Yeah, when her album was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had been on the air by then.
Yeah.
We had been on the air for quite some time. But that's because we were covering. Like,
Dominique was also a rapper. What year did you have a record out, Dominique?
It was not on a major label, but it was a long time.
It still counts, though. It still counts.
Still counts.
Well, then I might be the OG.
You might be it.
You might be you.
I did record one EP. Yep.
And what year was that?
Yeah,
I
what
don't
year
even
was
want to
that?
say.
Come
It
on
was a
now.
long
Come
time
on.
ago.
It wasn't in the third grade, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember I told you I was 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's your line.
Yeah.
7. You wasn't 7.
What year was that, Dominique?
It was long ago.
Come on.
See,
I
now
don't even
before
wanna tell you.
92?
Yeah, long
Okay,
before.
see,
Okay,
you
might be
before me.
Put it in context. Home Turf started. This is terrible because I'm gonna seem like I'm 100 years old. Which hey, I look
Hey,
good
ain't
for
nothing
100.
wrong
Damn
with
good.
being an elder.
Oh yeah, well, Home Turf started in '85,
Okay.
and I was rapping. That's how I got the job.
Okay.
So that can put you in context.
You might qualify for that.
I'm not going to say I was, by today's standard, you love simply poetry. Yeah. When I hear my work, I'm like,
no.
Yeah.
I call that
the ugly baby
syndrome. Okay. No matter how at that time, that was your baby, and nobody could tell you it was ugly. Now you look back, ooh, my child wasn't that cute at all. My music wasn't that. Hey, that's all right. It's yours.
For sure, I was an early adapter of hip hop because we're talking. Davey D was the one telling me, D, you got to claim it. Early 80s. Claim it. Whatever.
Like
it's just because I always said I was like a Forrest Gump. I love the music. I never was a historian like you, poetess, or, a producer. I just always ended up at the breakdance party, in the studio recording. How did I even get here? At New Eurekan Poets Cafe. That's how I learned about hip hop when my mama took me there because she was a poet.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to get on this mic and try this.
See?
But I brought it from the East Coast to the West Coast, so that's why it was earlier for me. But what year is that, Poetess? What year do you put? You said, Roger Clayton, this man sitting here.
I moved out here in 85.
What year do you put the origins of West Coast?
Oh, babe,
hip hop.
To be in that era, I have to go back to Don Campbell and the Lockers.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you go back to Don Campbell and the Lockers, when they were locking and doing the dancing in the knickerbocker pants and the striped socks, okay, that was considered like an early stage of breakdancing, and that was 73. I'm in high school now.
73.
That's like 73. Okay. Now that would, in fact, it's been said that Kool Herc references Don Campbell and the Lockers, and Soul Train, because Soul Train gave us a whole different.
Okay, my math ain't that good. So if we're going to 73, that's like almost 50 years.
50 years.
That's 49 years.
No, it's
50. It's 2023. 50 years.
Yeah.
So that means that West Coast hip hop would have started approximately the same time as East Coast hip hop, if you're counting it that way.
Here's the only debate though. Was it really? It was the orange. Let me see. The essence had developed, but it hadn't been named. We didn't hear the term.
But forget the term because then New York can't claim it either.
I'm gonna say that we ran parallel.
Okay, because
they were doing parties,
right?
Basement parties. So were we. We were doing.
I was at basement
parties.
parties in the doggone Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
When people used to bring their own linoleum.
Right.
So I kind of think the histories ran parallel.
Yeah, I mean.
I actually interviewed Mixmaster Spade once, and he told me that in the 70s he would go to New York. And he's been he was inspired by Kool Herc.
I mean, and if
he brought that to Compton.
And Kool Herc wasn't saying hip hop either.
Right.
But we're calling that the origins of hip hop, and it wasn't fully developed the way the whole rap hip hop. It's not just the music, everything. The whole culture is today. But we still, if we're saying that's the origin, we're just talking about the seeds. Right. Back to your ugly baby.
Right.
Theory.
Exactly.
Whatever it was at that time, it developed into where we are now.
That's when things started to change on the party scene. People were no longer dancing up close like they used to, and people were more competitive. Locking gave the dancers a competition situation, just like breakdancing did.
So rather than being more of a social thing like, romance, dance, romance, it became a sport.
Right. We still did the
Olympics.
we still,
I was more familiar with dancing before any other aspect of hip hop.
Same.
In the Bay Area, they had the dance competitions.
Okay.
But we also had a lot of great DJs and the graffiti artists, right? The spray can artists.
I moved to LA so early on that I didn't really get to witness the hip hop culture developing in the Bay Area, but more so here. But when I was in the Bay Area, it was all about dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think I feel like the Bay was ahead of other areas in terms of like the spray can art, and also had a really strong DJ culture. Just as far as like scratching and that kind of thing, as opposed to more parties.
Right. Now, when it comes to the parties, when you come to the origins of West Coast hip hop, you
Yes,
got three
sir.
people.
Okay.
Myself,
Right.
Roger Clayton,
Right.
Unknown DJ. Unknown DJ, he don't do interviews, he don't talk, he don't do none of that right there, but he was right there with the three of us.
Yep, I met
Why?
Unknown a few times, but I just seen him recently. We were at B-Real's Dr. Green
Okay,
Thumb
right,
spot, and
right.
he showed up. I was like,
He-
okay.
he stays unknown.
Didn't he used to wear
He
something over his, like,
he wore a mask at one time, but he only did like 2 shows. He does not like, he don't like the limelight. He don't
Why?
Like, he just don't. I don't know.
Okay. Probably in the witness protection program.
I
or
don't
something.
know. I tease him about that. That's one of my jokes. I say, you must be in the witness protection program, because I've been knowing this dude like 45 years, and I don't know where he live at right to this day.
and you know who else doesn't do interviews well when I was doing my West Coast project is MC Hammer.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know
He's
that.
like
Really?
you got to pay him basically.
Oh, well, yeah. After what he went through with his fortunes, you
Right.
can hardly blame him. Oh, I have to pull out my Hammer interviews.
Yeah,
way back.
Well, how often do we see Hammer being interviewed like now?
Right,
like,
right,
you know,
right.
it was maybe about 7-8 years ago. I ran into him somewhere and asked him. He was like, no. So
Wow,
I was like, okay.
that's wild.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Wow.
Okay, so we're saying they're parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I asked you this, but I'll ask you guys both this. We got a minute until News Traffic Sports. We're going to take phone calls. After that, we got some folks that want to talk to you, 800-920-1580. I'll start with you because I think we talked about this. Who or what drew you into the culture, Poetess?
Well, I was always a poet. Like, since a kid, I was writing poetry. But when I moved to Los Angeles, I started, my cousin was road manager for the LA Dream Team. And so I became really close with Lisa Love that was in the group. And she was a Puerto Rican girl from New York.
Beautiful.
And oh my God, she could rap. And I always wondered why LA Dream Team didn't let her shine, but she was the best female rapper I had ever heard at that time. And she inspired me, and her and I were going to write songs together and hook up and create music. But unfortunately, she was killed in a car accident right in the middle of that. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to keep going in her honor and her memory. And I started writing songs and started rapping. And
All right, we'll continue this after news, traffic, and sports. Lonzo Williams and the Poetess is hip-hop history right there, right here. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump says he will, of course, plead not guilty to charges in federal court next week. James Trusty, a member of former President Trump's legal team.
I mean, there's been endless grand jury dragging people up from Florida to Washington, D.C. for many months. You know, everyone from the Vice President of the United States to groundskeepers to maids.
In an interview with Fox News Digital, Trump said he's totally innocent. In Illinois, African-American Mayor Brandon Johnson is extending paid parental leave for Chicago Public Schools employees to 12 weeks. The new policy will allow eligible employees to receive up to 12 weeks of paid parental leave for birth, adoption, or fostering of a child. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Miami Heat have a major problem heading into Game 4 tonight in the NBA Finals. The Heat are down 2-1 to the Denver Nuggets, and they need to come up with a master plan to deal with the history-making tandem of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Both had 30-point triple-doubles in Game 3, the first time two teammates did that in the same game in NBA history. If the Heat don't figure out how to handle Jokic and Murray, this series could be over in 5 games. Jokic has 10 triple-doubles in this year's playoffs. He's on the verge of becoming the first player to lead his team in scoring, rebounds, and assists in the NBA Finals. Game 4 tonight at 5:30 on ABC. The Dodgers shut out Cincinnati to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Dodgers are in Philadelphia today for the start of a 3-game series. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Everybody in the house, make some noise!
Is there a better day of the year to celebrate the anniversary of the only unapologetically progressive talk station west of the Mississippi, focused on issues that impact the black community?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We think not. A station that amplifies black voices like yours with hosts and guests who look and sound like you. Celebrating our second anniversary on Juneteenth. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And you ain't seen nothing yet. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Here are 3 ways to commemorate Juneteenth from AARP. 1. Learn the full history. Juneteenth was the end of slavery, but there's more. Begin by learning the whole story. 2. Celebrate. Celebrating our freedom should be a party with a purpose, with family, friends, fellowship, and oh yeah, food. 3. Support black-owned business. In 1865, we had little to nothing, but as a people, we've been richly blessed. Express your gratitude by supporting our black-owned businesses.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
Find a righteous rage, and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
They got my name on file, they got my voice on tape, they got my fingerprints, there is no escape. My friends tell me I overreact. The paranoia's having all the facts. I don't have them all, I just got a few. But I'm still doing this paranoia rap to you.
KBLA Talk 58. Only the Poetess, Miles Lowe, and Lonzo Williams ganging up on me could make me play my rap song.
That is Dominique in the background. You hear rapping right now.
Yeah, this was the punk funk band, The Appliances. We actually toured around the Bay Area, and I was rapping.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, man, that to rap with a band back
Come on,
then,
man.
that was extra special.
Come on.
Well, I'll take credit in the sense that I was into hip hop early on, right?
Yeah.
When it
Sound
wasn't.
like you might be the first female recording
Yeah,
artist.
we were
first
trying to
one around.
figure out who the first
19.
was.
No, that's 80s, but it's early
Hey.
80s.
That was the style of that era.
Yeah, okay, we can let that go. The ugly baby syndrome. But like I said, like I told Miles, I am happy because I'm still talking the same smack. I
See?
mean, one of my lines, I don't know if you're my friend anymore because you sound like a cop when you knock at my door.
See,
It's the same
always
Dominique.
politically active.
See?
Yeah.
Politically conscious.
Okay, so we said parallel.
Yes.
Parallel development. I think there's folks on the East Coast would dispute that. I don't want to create another war here.
Right.
They only dispute it because even New York beefed with their different boroughs. Like
True that.
They were
True that.
like, oh, you're not hip hop, they're hip hop, and
Yeah.
within New
The
York,
bridge is
like
over.
so,
The bridge is over.
right?
Yeah.
So they were battling against their own
that's true. And
bureaus.
we always have Southern California versus Northern California.
Yeah.
And that whole battle spirit was always kind of like cool. It was part of the
Right.
thing until people started
to the
getting
became deadly.
hot.
There were
Yeah.
high standards back then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you didn't. If you were trying to sound like somebody
Oh,
else,
my God.
you were,
Ostracized.
yeah, you were like, oh, you're whack, straight
Right.
up. But now people bite. They take your names. They taking names of OGs.
Little.
using
They
it.
put a little on it.
No, some people just straight taking the name,
yeah.
like the originator didn't
Right.
exist.
Right.
So
I mean, and for the most part, people aren't going to battle. Like, I mean, I know Miles has a whole freestyle battle thing that he does, and actually Miles Lowe, who's engineering today, and actually made a name for himself at like 13 or 12 years old,
Doing
taking
battles.
down like grown rappers. But most artists are not going to battle. They're gonna hide behind
no, they're mainly
production.
entertainers now. They're not so
Entertainers.
much as
Right.
MCs. Or,
I mean, of course, there's notable exceptions, right? No?
no, KRS to me still, I think, can almost take
Yeah.
out.
But I mean, you
anybody
do
that's
have
in the
real,
battling
you have
range.
lyricists. You got, and I feel
Yeah,
like we always
do.
had whack people too that were just entertainers. Maybe they just didn't dominate.
No, we just cared more about our lyrics, whether the lyrics were gangster, whether the lyrics were party lyrics. People took, the people I hung around with, such as Def Jeff and real MCs, they took special care with writing lyrics. Like having the best lyrics were everything.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was reputations lived and died. But I always think there were people that were more commercial, that were just more packaged entertainment people, and others that were actually like lyricists and artists and community folks. I guess it's just tipped more towards the
Self-destruction.
It got more commercialized in that way too.
and
but-
more fake, because a lot of those folks cannot produce what they do on the album, on a mic, in a one
Right.
of your basement parties,
Right,
you know, with popping and locking and whatever else
Take
was
them
going
out
on.
of the studio and they lost. It
Yeah.
sound like I can't even say it on the radio.
Let's go to Kwamel calling us from Gardena. Good morning, Kwamel. Kwamel?
Oh wow! Hello?
Yeah, you on the air.
You got me mid sip of a drink. Can you hear me?
Yep, we do hear you. We sound like
Okay, yeah. So
we're on some weird speaker or something. You got us on the Bluetooth or something. It doesn't sound amazing.
okay, sorry about that. I'll take it off.
Thank
You
you.
got me mid sip of some coconut water. Sorry about that. But
what I wanted to lay out was, of course, don't forget Sir Mix-a-Lot in Seattle, too, as far as West Coast origin. But
Wait,
I wanted
you
to
said that
know-
so fast, I don't know.
He said Seattle. What's his name?
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Mix-a-Lot.
Mix-a-Lot, yeah.
Yeah, don't forget Seattle in the West Coast story, too. So now, real quick, I wanted to lay out, like, the whole idea of what were the legendary venues that we were doing our thing at. Because we know, like in the 90s, like Unity happened at a whole bunch of different places because like, it was that whole kind of warehouse movement.
Yeah.
And you know, like it would have like warehouse,
Unity,
variety art center, places like that.
Water the
but
Bush.
But in the 80s, so I was a kid in the 80s, so I wanted to kind of know, like, what were the venues that we were known to like really tear up, like not tear the club up, but you know, like really like oh, like it happened at this place, at that place, and. So wanted to hear that be talked about.
Yeah.
And one other thing, real quick. One other thing, real quick. I wanted to hear some comments on the parallel with what hip hop was doing with West Coast electro music and Detroit techno that was playing on K-Day, and I'll take those comments off the air.
All right, you're talking to the guy that provided most of the venues back in the 70s and 80s. There was. Again, that was two guys at that time doing events. We didn't do. I didn't do my first rap contest until Eve After Dark. That was back in '79.
Wow.
Right, '79. I owned the Eve After Dark in '79. Then I moved to Dudos and started doing bigger shows. That's the venue you saw straight out of Compton. There weren't a whole lot of venues back then doing hip hop stuff because we were kind of on the cusp. Hip hop hadn't taken over yet.
Right.
We're still doing a lot of R&B, still playing the funk, cameo, blah, blah, blah.
Right, and he's asking about electro, techno, and all that.
Now, that's where Unknown DJ comes in at. Because Unknown DJ is from Detroit.
Oh.
Unknown came from Detroit, the house music, electro funk, and he was kind of my music director for Eve After Dark. So he would go to Hollywood and find all these little obscure record stores and bring back this craft work and Soul Sonic Force, stuff like that, and played in the club. And that's how we got our groove. That was our thing. And cause I had, at the Eve After Dark, we were open like 6 hours. So we had I ran like a radio station. Everybody had 2 hour slots. And everybody wanted some different kind of music, and Unknown would bring that kind of stuff into the Eve, and that's what gave us our flavor, and that's what gave Class Wreckin Cru their flavor.
And Egypt.
And
Egypt still does
electro funk.
Is that what he calls it?
Electro
funk.
Yeah.
And he's been been around since the 80s. So now,
see, you were naming venues, Poetess. I don't know if Kwamel, you said Unity.
This was more so in the 90s. Unity, Water the Bush, and we usually did those clubs at like the Dragonfly, even Hollywood Live, where Jimmy Kimmel does his show down in the basement of that place. I think that's where we did Water the Bush, and everybody that was in hip hop would come out to those things.
I mean, in the Bay, it was warehouses. It was a lot
the Casa.
Yeah, it was a lot of places where it wasn't necessarily a club. We just had a party there. And I don't know how we all knew about it because we didn't have social media, but somehow we all knew where to go.
Flyers.
Yeah,
we had flyers, word of mouth.
Yeah, the Hood Grapevine.
The Casa is where I saw a lot of first time seeing NWA perform was at the Casa. First time seeing Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick was at the Casa right there on Washington.
I laugh because Poetess will be there. If it's happening, she gonna be there.
I was in the mix. I was in the mix going to everything hip hop when it was started out.
I mean, I think we touched on this briefly, but how did you get, you're the Godfather, how did you get inducted into hip hop, the beginnings?
I was a DJ for years. I was one of the first DJs out of Southern California, period. I was one of the first guys carrying records and turntables in his Vega. Okay, in his Vega. Most of y'all don't even know what I'm saying right there.
So you were DJing with disco, R&B.
Disco. My first name was Disco Lonzo.
Disco Lonzo.
So I'm doing this in the 70s. I'm doing parties. I'm playing.
Okay, we're gonna hear how that evolved into hip hop when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
All right.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Turner's hometown to build a statue in her honor. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. On May 24, news spread of the death of the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner, who died at 83 years old. Turner's representatives say she died of natural causes after long illness. The mayor of Tina's hometown has since revealed plans to build a statue in honor of Turner. Bill Rawls Jr., mayor of Brownsville, reveals his hope to have the sculpture placed in Heritage Park near the high school Tina attended as a teenager. She was born in the same town in 1939. Rest in peace to the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. I'm Maisha Cairo for KBLA Talk 1580, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com or call 213-978-1845.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees and you paid COVID sick leave in 2021 or 22, you may qualify for reimbursement through a state grant program administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Learn more at covidpaidsick.com.
Something new is happening in California's public schools.
They're called community schools.
One of the foundations of community schools is shared decision making,
where parents and families, students and educators make decisions as one.
Community schools lift the voices of folks that have traditionally been underserved.
Many of our classes are designed around our own students' cultures, their background, their personal experiences.
We bring culturally relevant curriculum to the classroom based on what their specific needs are.
Improving student achievement and innovative classes like cybersecurity and gardening.
And we assist families with their needs.
Some schools have parent education programs, cooking and nutrition classes.
Everything from medical or dental services to immigration law services.
This is a one-stop shop that serves the needs of not just the students, but their families as well.
They're California's community schools, reimagining public education. Paid for by the California Teachers Association.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Eyes that gaze in, sweet lips that kiss on. Gentle to touch, your mighty as a thunderstorm. Beautiful your nature, sharp is the intellect, strong is the physical. I'm giving much respect to the brothers of the earth, the stars, the moon. Seasons to change, the soil, the flowers that bloom. You inspire my poetry. Points, roll ink, to link the words, ideas, thoughts that I think best. Paint the picture. You're the piece that fits the puzzle, the missing link, the clue. And I think you're much more than beautiful. You're powerful and spiritual, mystical and miracle, smooth, sexy, and sensual.
All right, outro us, Poetess.
That is Of the Essence, dedicated to all the beautiful brothers out there. So shout out to Broadway. He produced that. And yeah, we had some live instrumentation on my album.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and all your music is digitized now. Like, it's not lost like some of our
Last
history.
year was the 30th anniversary of the release of my album, and now it is available on iTunes and Spotify, which is cool. So I'm going to say to all the artists out there that have music in the 80s and 90s, digitize your catalog, because when people use it on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, or streaming networks, you're going to get some royalties from that. So I would say digitize it. There's platforms out there that you just upload your album, do all the album credits and stuff, and they distribute it for you.
Yeah, it's
an easy process. It's an easy process.
That is super important.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, talk to me about. Well, Lonzo, finish what you were saying about you were DJing, you were doing disco, you were disco Lonzo.
Disco
How
Lonzo,
does that turn
funk.
into hip hop? Godfather.
79. I get the Eve After Dark and hip and Rappers Delight is the first thing we started playing, and then we started hearing this more and more rap because we first opened it. We were competing with funk and rap. Rappers Delight. Then we got Super Rhymes. Forgot the artist, but we got Super Rhymes. And we started hearing this rap thing coming around. And I started doing rap contests and breakdance contests and all these different events to try to promote the culture. And meanwhile, I was shopping my underground mixes to all the record labels, and they kept telling me that this hip hop thing is going to die. It's going to die. It's going to die.
They kept telling me that too. Jimmy Spicer.
Yeah, it's going to die. It's going to die. It won't. It's going to die like hip hop. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And eventually, it became a West Coast thing. And by I think about 1983, when Greg Mack hit the radio, that's when it kind of just solidified for us all here on the West Coast, because now we got radio behind us. Because KGFJ was playing hip-hop, but they only played it for a certain amount of time. Greg turned K-Day into a 24-hour hip-hop station, and that just changed the game for everybody.
And that was on 1580 AM, where we are right now, talking about hip-hop history. And speaking of which, when we come forward, I want to talk about all three of us were at the star ceremony for Tupac on the Hollywood Wallk of Fame. Think about what that evoked for you, what it meant, what you took away as we look at West Coast hip-hop history, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
All right, Lonzo Williams is here. Poetess is here. We've got West Coast hip-hop gravitas in the studio. I'm Dominique DiPrima. So talk to me about Tupac's Walk of Fame. What did it bring into your mind, Lonzo? How did you feel? I mean, it was a huge crowd. That's one thing.
It was a huge crowd, and I didn't spend a lot of time with Tupac, but I had a connection to him. One, Adrian Gregory, who was his manager, was my intern at Crew Cut Records for years, okay? And come to find out, Tupac and I have the same birthday. So I've always felt a special connection to him. We both born June 16th.
Gemini season.
Gemini season,
Happy
baby.
Happy birthday early.
Thank you, dear. And I know your birthday is coming up soon.
It just passed.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Gemini season.
Okay.
Oh, it just passed?
It just passed. It's all good. It's always my birthday until Gemini season is over. Hey, I shall collect. What did you think, Poetess? How did you feel?
I thought it was beautiful. I've been to a lot of star inductions on the Hollywood Wallk of Fame, and Tupac by far had the biggest crowd they actually blocked off the street. And normally they don't really block off the street. Buses and cars still pass by, but they blocked off that whole block. And to see his sister and his family there, his Mopreme was there, and his sister Set received the honor, and it was just good to see everybody that knew Pac there. Money B, shout out to Money B.
Yes.
And QD3 was there, which we found out actually produced Live and Die in L.A., which you hear yours truly, Dominique, on the beginning.
Right. That people always think is the Poetess because they confuse us all the time.
They always think it's me. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, but then I mostly all the time say, no, that's my girl, Dominique.
If they think I did Simply Poetry, I'll be like, yeah.
Are you serious? No, it's Dominique.
I thought it was you.
See? People think it's Poetess. Well, did you think I was rapping Simply Poetry? Because I'll take credit for that.
No, it was Dominique. She did the beginning of that, and QD3. I didn't know that QD3 had produced that song.
I didn't know that either,
and so we met him there. And then Alan Hughes, who produced the Dear Mama documentary on FX, Hulu. So it was a nice event. It was love. And all I could think about, if Pac was here, he would roll in with a huge entourage of folks. But then we're thinking of the 25-year-old Pac.
Right.
What would the 50-year-old Pac be like?
Yeah, for sure.
You know? So,
I loved seeing such a, young, old, racially diverse crowd.
Yes.
But I got to say, because we were talking about this yesterday, Poetess, you actually emceed his last show, right?
I emceed his last show, which was at the House of Blues. And it was when Death Row changed their name to the Death Row what was it?
Oh, Untouchable.
Untouchable Death Row Records or whatever. But yeah, and that was his last concert. His last official concert was on that day at the House of Blues on Sunset.
Wow.
And then he was killed a few months after that, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So, yeah.
History
I was his label mate as well, so I've had several interactions with Pac, and they've all been good. I'll say that.
Well, Lonzo Williams and Poetess, Morris Media Studios.
Yes, we are right across the street. We are a podcast and voiceover studio right here in Lamert Park. We teach people how to podcast, and you can follow us at Morris Media Studios and OG Poetess.
Got to leave it there.
You can follow me at Real Lonzo NWA. Check us out, me and Dr. Dre today on Legendary Connects, and also Tuesday, me and Dusty Vision, NWA Stories with Lonzo.
Awesome. Tavis Smiley. The best of Tavis Smiley starts right now on KBLA Talk 1580 One Love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump says he will, of course, plead not guilty to charges in federal court next week. James Trusty, a member of former President Trump's legal team.
I mean, there's been endless grand jury dragging people up from Florida to Washington, D.C. for many months. Everyone from the Vice President of the United States to groundskeepers to maids.
In an interview with Fox News Digital, Trump said he's totally innocent.